I wake up to the soft light of dawn filtering through the curtains, the same way I do every day. My wife, Emily, is still asleep beside me, her face peaceful, almost innocent. I watch her for a moment, marveling at how beautiful she still is after all these years. She's everything I ever wanted, or at least she used to be. The alarm rings, pulling me from my thoughts. I silence it quickly, not wanting to disturb her. I slip out of bed, careful not to make a sound, and head to the bathroom. My reflection in the mirror shows a man who should be content, a successful career, a stunning wife, and a life most would envy. But there's a gnawing feeling inside me, something I can't quite shake off. Lately, Emily has been distant, her laughter less frequent, her touch colder. I tell myself it's just stress, that the pressures of work and life are taking their toll on us both. But doubt lingers, like a shadow in the corner of my mind. By the time I'm dressed and ready for work, Emily is awake. She greets me with a smile, one that doesn't quite reach her eyes. I kiss her lightly on the lips, tasting the faint bitterness of suspicion that's become all too familiar. "I'll see you tonight," I say, trying to sound casual, but the words feel hollow. The day passes in a blur of meetings and phone calls, but my thoughts are never far from Emily. I glance at my phone every now and then, hoping for a message from her, some sign that everything is okay between us. But there's nothing, just the growing unease in the pit of my stomach. When I get home, the house is quiet, too quiet. I find Emily in the living room, her eyes glued to her phone, a smile playing on her lips. She doesn't notice me at first, too absorbed in whatever she's reading. When she finally looks up, there's a flicker of something in her eyes. Guilt, maybe, or fear. "Who are you texting?" I ask, trying to keep my voice light, but she knows me too well. Her smile falters and she shrugs, dismissing the question with a wave of her hand. "Just a friend." Later that night, when she's asleep, I can't help myself. I reach for her phone, my heart pounding in my chest. The screen lights up, and there it is. A message from someone I don't recognize, someone she's clearly been spending a lot of time with. My hands tremble as I read the words, each one a dagger to my heart. "I can't wait to see you again," the message says, and suddenly everything makes sense. The distance, the coldness, the lies. My world shatters in an instant, but I don't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I put the phone back where I found it and lie awake, staring at the ceiling, the pieces of my life falling apart around me. The next morning, I wake up with a plan. I've never been the type to act on impulse, always the methodical one, the thinker. But now there's a fire in me, something raw and unrelenting. I'm going to find out everything, who this man is, how long this has been going on, and what they plan to do next. I can't confront Emily yet. No, that would be too easy, too quick. I need to know the full extent of her betrayal before I decide what to do. I leave the house early, telling Emily I have an important meeting at work. She barely looks up from her coffee, nodding absently, her mind clearly elsewhere. The detachment in her gaze fuels my determination. I walk out the door, my heart pounding, adrenaline coursing through my veins. At the office, I can't focus. My thoughts are a chaotic mess of rage, hurt, and cold calculation. I know where Emily works, and I know she's been spending a lot of late nights at the office recently. So I decide to take a drive during lunch. I arrive at her office building and park across the street, watching the entrance. I feel ridiculous, like a character in a bad spy movie, but the need to know outweighs my pride. An hour passes before I see her. Emily walks out of the building, her hand resting lightly on the arm of a younger man. He's tall, well-dressed, with an easy smile that makes my blood boil. They talk, their conversation too casual, too intimate for coworkers. I snap a few photos with my phone, my hands shaking slightly. This is it. This is the proof I need. They get into his car and I follow, keeping a safe distance. My mind races with possibilities, each one darker than the last. Are they going to a hotel? Back to his place? I grip the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turn white. They drive across town, eventually stopping at a small upscale restaurant. I park a few spaces away, watching as they walk inside, laughing at something he says. It's as if they're in their own world, oblivious to the pain they're causing me. I don't follow them in. Instead, I sit in my car, my thoughts spiraling. How long has this been going on? Was I blind to the signs, or was Emily just that good at hiding it? I remember the early days of our marriage, how we couldn't keep our hands off each other, how her eyes lit up whenever I walked into a room. When did that change? When did I become the boring, predictable husband while she sought excitement elsewhere? After an hour, they emerge from the restaurant, still laughing, still too close. I follow them back to the office, taking more photos, documenting every moment. When I return to my own office, I can barely concentrate. My mind is a storm of emotions, rage, betrayal, sadness. But I know I can't confront her yet. I need to dig deeper, find out just how far this goes. Over the next few days, I become obsessed. I track her every move, noting every time she leaves the house, every time she comes home late. I hack into her email, her social media accounts, piecing together the puzzle of her infidelity. It's worse than I imagined. The messages between them are explicit, filled with the kind of passion that's been missing from our marriage for years. I read every word, torturing myself with the details, but I can't stop. I need to know everything. One night after Emily has gone to bed, I find a particularly damning email. It's from her lover, the man I've come to know as Jack. In it, he talks about their future together, how they'll be free once I'm out of the picture. My blood runs cold as I read his words. This isn't just an affair. They're planning something, something that involves me, something that could destroy my life. I feel sick, the room spinning around me. I've been betrayed in the worst possible way, and now I'm in danger. But instead of breaking down, I feel a strange sense of clarity. I can't let them win. I won't be the victim in their twisted game. The next day, I take a different approach. I go to Jack's office, pretending to be a potential client. It's a small, sleek place, all glass walls and minimalist furniture. He greets me with that same easy smile, completely unaware of who I am. We shake hands and I feel a surge of anger, but I force myself to stay calm. I need to get close to him, to understand what he's planning. We talk business for a while, but I steer the conversation towards his personal life. He mentions a girlfriend, someone he's been seeing for a while. He doesn't mention Emily by name, but I can see the gleam in his eye, the arrogance of a man who thinks he's won. It takes everything in me not to lash out, but I keep my composure, playing the part of the interested client. After the meeting, I sit in my car trying to process everything. Jack is smart, calculating, but he's also overconfident. He doesn't see me as a threat, and that's his biggest mistake. I need to use that to my advantage. Over the next week, I gather more evidence. I record their phone calls, their meetings, every detail I can. The more I dig, the more I realize how deep this goes. Emily isn't just cheating on me. She's planning to leave me for Jack, to take everything I've worked for. They've been meeting with lawyers, discussing ways to cut me out of the company, to leave me with nothing. The realization hits me like a ton of bricks. This isn't just about infidelity. It's about betrayal on a level I never imagined. Emily was never content with our life. She wanted more money, more excitement, more power. And she found that in Jack, the young, ambitious colleague who saw me as nothing more than an obstacle. I feel a cold fury settle in my chest. They think they can take everything from me, that I'll just roll over and let it happen. But they're wrong. I've spent my entire life building my career, my reputation, and I'm not going to let them destroy it. That night, I can't sleep. I lie in bed listening to Emily's even breathing beside me, wondering how she can be so calm, so oblivious to the storm she's unleashed. I want to confront her, to scream at her, to demand answers. But I know I can't. Not yet. I need to wait, to bide my time until I can strike back. A few days later, I overhear a conversation between Emily and Jack. They're in the kitchen, talking in hushed tones, but I catch enough to understand what they're planning. They're going to make their move soon. sell the company behind my back, take the money, and disappear. My hands clench into fists as I listen, rage bubbling up inside me. But I force myself to stay calm, to keep listening. This is the confirmation I need, the final piece of the puzzle. After they finish talking, I retreat to my study, closing the door behind me. I need to think, to plan my next move. Next. I can't go to the police. There's no evidence of a crime, not yet. And confronting Emily would only tip my hand, give them time to adjust their plans. No, I need to be smart, to outmaneuver them at their own game. I decide to set a trap. I'll pretend to go along with their plan, make them think I'm oblivious, that I trust Emily completely. I'll act the part of the clueless husband, letting them believe they've won. But all the while, I'll be gathering more evidence, preparing for the moment when I can expose them. The next morning, I start putting my plan into action. I apologize to Emily, telling her I've been stressed at work, that I've been distant because of it. She seems relieved, her guard lowering just a fraction. I suggest we take a weekend trip together, something to rekindle the spark in our marriage. She agrees, but I can see the hesitation in her eyes. She's not sure if she can trust me, but she wants to believe the lie I'm selling. We go away for the weekend, to a secluded cabin in the mountains. The place is beautiful, serene, but there's an undercurrent of tension between us. At night, we sit by the fire, drinking wine, and I watch her carefully, looking for any sign that she suspects me. But she seems relaxed, more at ease than she's been in weeks. She leans into me, her hand resting on my thigh, her touch sending a jolt of electricity through me. It's been so long since we've been this close, this intimate. As the night wears on, the wine flows more freely, and our conversation turns to old memories, the early days of our marriage. She smiles, a genuine smile this time, and for a moment, I see the woman I fell in love with. But the illusion is shattered when she mentions Jack, casually slipping his name into the conversation, as if testing my reaction. I play it cool, pretending not to notice, but inside my blood boils. She's toying with me, testing the waters to see if I've figured out her plan. But I won't give her the satisfaction. I lean in, kissing her softly, letting my hands wander, and she responds eagerly, her body pressing against mine. The tension between us shifts, turning into something else, something primal, urgent. We make love by the fire, the heat of the flames matching the intensity between us. It's different this time, more desperate, as if we're both trying to hold on to something that's slipping away. She clings to me, her nails digging into my back, and I wonder if she feels it too. The end of us, looming just on the horizon. Afterward, we lie together on the rug, the fire crackling beside us, our breathing slowly returning to normal. She falls asleep in my arms, and I watch her, wondering how things got so twisted, how we went from being partners to enemies. I want to hate her, but all I feel is a deep, aching sadness. The next morning, I wake up before her, slipping out of bed quietly. I need to clear my head to figure out my next move. I walk outside, the crisp mountain air filling my lungs. But the peace I usually find in nature eludes me. My mind is a whirlwind of thoughts, but one thing is clear. I can't keep this charade up much longer. The time is coming when I'll have to act, to confront her, to put an end to this once and for all. Later that day, as we're driving back to the city, she asks me what's on my mind. I tell her I'm just thinking about work, about the meeting I have the next day. She nods, but I can see the doubt in her eyes. She knows something's off, that I'm not telling her everything, but she doesn't press the issue. We ride in silence, the tension between us thick enough to cut with a knife. When we get home, I head straight to my study, locking the door behind me. I need to prepare, to gather everything I've found and make sure I'm ready for the final showdown. I know it's coming, that there's no turning back now. The only question is who will come out on top, me or them. That night, as I lie in bed beside her, I wonder what the future holds. Will I be able to expose them before they ruin me? Or will I end up losing everything? My career, my reputation, my life? The uncertainty gnaws at me, but I push it aside. I've come too far to back down now. In the darkness, I listen to her breathing, steady and even, and I make a silent vow. No matter what happens, I won't let them destroy me. I'll fight back and I'll win, no matter the cost. I can't sit back any longer. The anger has been simmering inside me, but now it's starting to boil over. Every time I see Emily, the way she smiles at me, the way she pretends nothing is wrong, it only adds fuel to the fire. I need to confront him. Jack. I need to know exactly what he thinks he's doing, what they've been plotting behind my back. I decide to catch him off guard. I know where he'll be, thanks to the information I've gathered. He frequents a small gym downtown, the kind of place where people like him go to maintain their image, all muscles and vanity. I park outside waiting, my heart pounding in my chest. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about my entire life. Everything I've built, everything she's trying to destroy. When I see him walk out of the gym, my pulse quickens. He's alone, looking smug and self-satisfied, like a man who thinks he's invincible. I get out of the car and follow him. He doesn't notice me at first, not until I'm right behind him. "Jack," I say, my voice steady, betraying none of the turmoil inside me. He turns, surprise flickering in his eyes before he quickly masks it with a smile. "Hey, I wasn't expecting to see you here." I force a smile, but I can feel the tension in my jaw. "We need to talk." He hesitates, glancing around as if weighing his options. Then he nods. "Sure, let's go somewhere private." We walk a short distance to a nearby alley, away from prying eyes. He leans casually against the wall, his confidence almost laughable. "What's on your mind?" I step closer, my voice low and dangerous. "I know what you've been doing with my wife." His smile falters slightly, but he recovers quickly. "I'm not sure what you mean." "Don't play dumb with me," I snap, my fist clenching. "I've seen the messages, heard the conversations. I know everything." Jack's face hardens, the pretense of friendliness slipping away. "So what? It's not like you can stop us." "Emily doesn't love you anymore, and you're just in the way." The words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I don't let it show. I can't afford to show any weakness now. "You think you can just take everything from me? My wife? My company? You're nothing but a parasite, feeding off what others have built." Jack laughs, a cold, mocking sound. "And what are you going to do about it? You're a has-been, stuck in your little world. Emily wants more, and so do I. We've already made our plans, and there's nothing you can do to stop us." I step even closer, so close I can see the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "You're wrong," I say, my voice a deadly whisper. "I can stop you, and I will. You have no idea what I'm capable of." For a moment we stand there, the tension between us thick enough to cut with a knife. Then without warning, I grab him by the collar, slamming him against the wall. His eyes widen in shock, but before he can react, I lean in, my voice a low growl. "You're going to walk away, Jack. You're going to leave Emily and the company, and you're going to forget you ever met us. If you don't, I will destroy you." He tries to push me off, but I tighten my grip, my anger giving me strength. "You think you're in control, but you're not. I'm the one with the power here, and if you cross me, I'll make sure you regret it." Jack's bravado falters, fear creeping into his eyes. "You're insane," he spits out, but I can see the doubt, the crack in his confidence. "Maybe," I say, releasing him abruptly, causing him to stumble back. "But you're going to listen to me. This is your one and only warning." I turn and walk away, my heart racing. I've shown my hand, but I needed to. Now it's a game of chess, and I've made my move. The question is, how will he respond? Later that night, I sit in my study, replaying the confrontation in my mind. Did I go too far? Did I show too much of my anger, my desperation? But I can't afford to second-guess myself. I know Jack is dangerous, but I also know he's not as confident as he pretends to be. I saw the fear in his eyes. He's worried, and that gives me an advantage. Emily comes in, interrupting my thoughts. She's been out all day, probably with him. I watch her closely, looking for any sign that she knows about my meeting with Jack. But she acts normal, almost too normal. "How was your day?" she asks, sitting on the edge of my desk. "Busy," I reply, my tone neutral. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. "I'm glad we took that trip last weekend. I think it really helped us reconnect." I force a smile, playing along with her charade. "Yeah, it was nice." She leans in, her hand resting on mine. "I want us to work, you know. I know things have been tough, but I'm committed to making this marriage work." Her words are like a knife twisting in my gut. How can she say that after everything she's done? But I nod, keeping up the facade. "Me too." She kisses me softly, her lips lingering on mine, and for a moment I almost believe her. But then I remember Jack's words, the plans they've made, and the illusion shatters. I pull away, needing space, needing to think. "I have some work to do," I say, standing up. She looks disappointed but doesn't push. "Okay, I'll be upstairs if you need me." I watch her leave, the door closing softly behind her. I should confront her, demand answers, but I know it won't do any good. She's too deep in this, too far gone. Confronting her now would only tip her off, give her and Jack time to adjust their plans. No, I need to stick to my strategy, even if it's killing me inside. The next day I receive a call from Jack. His voice is tense, controlled, but I can hear the undercurrent of fear. "We need to talk." I agree to meet him, but this time I choose the location. A deserted parking lot on the outskirts of town, a place where we won't be disturbed. When I arrive, he's already there, pacing back and forth. I approach him slowly, keeping my distance. "What do you want?" I ask, my tone icy. Jack looks at me, his confidence from the gym long gone. "You were right. I underestimated you. But you have to understand, this isn't just about you. Emily and I don't care what you and Emily have," I interrupt, my voice cold and hard. "This is about my life, my company. You crossed a line and now you're going to pay for it." He raises his hands in a placating gesture. "Look, we can work something out. I don't want to ruin you. We just want to be together. Maybe we can come to some sort of agreement." I laugh, a harsh, bitter sound. "An agreement? After everything you've done, you think I'm just going to walk away and let you have everything? You're delusional." Jack's face tightens, anger flashing in his eyes. "You're not leaving me much choice. If you keep pushing, I'll have to go public with what I know." "And what exactly do you know?" I ask, taking a step closer, my eyes locked on his. He hesitates, clearly unsure of how much to reveal. "Enough to destroy your reputation. Enough to make sure you lose everything." I smile, but there's no warmth in it. "Then do it. But know this. If you come after me, I'll make sure you go down with me. You think you can blackmail me? I'm not afraid of you, Jack." The threat hangs in the air between us, heavy and dangerous. He shifts uncomfortably, realizing he's out of his depth. "Fine. What do you want?" I cross my arms, staring him down. "You're going to leave the company, quietly. You'll tell Emily you've decided it's not worth the risk. And then you'll disappear from our lives. And if I refuse," he asks, his voice shaking slightly, "then I'll make sure everyone knows who you really are," I say, my voice low and menacing. "I've been gathering evidence, Jack. You're not as clean as you think. I'll ruin you, and Emily will see you for the coward you are." Jack's face pales, and I can see the fear in his eyes. He's trapped, and he knows it. "All right," he says finally, his voice defeated. "I'll do it." "Good," I reply, turning to leave. "And Jack, if I ever see you near Emily or my company again, I won't be so lenient." I walk away, leaving him standing there, broken and defeated. I've won this round, but I know it's not over. Emily is still a problem, and I need to figure out how to deal with her. But for now, I've neutralized the immediate threat, and that's a small victory in itself. When I get home, Emily is in the kitchen, cooking dinner. She looks up as I walk in, smiling, but there's a hint of nervousness in her eyes. "How was your day?" "Productive," I reply, taking a seat at the table. She nods, focusing on the food. I watch her closely, wondering what she's thinking. Does she suspect something? Has Jack already told her about our meeting? But she doesn't say anything, just serves dinner in silence. As we eat, I can't help but feel the distance between us growing. The lies, the deceit, it's all too much, but I can't let it break me. Not yet. After dinner, I retreat to my study, needing time alone to think. I know Emily will come looking for me eventually, but for now, I need to strategize. Jack is out of the picture, but Emily is still a loose cannon. I can't trust her, but I also can't confront her directly without risking everything. I sit at my desk, staring at the files I've gathered, the evidence I've collected. It's all there, the proof of their betrayal, the plans they've made. But what do I do with it? How do I use it to end this once and for all? Hours pass, and I'm no closer to an answer. The weight of the situation presses down on me, suffocating, but I refuse to give in. I can't afford to. Eventually, Emily comes in, her expression concerned. "You've been in here for hours. Are you okay?" I look up at her, my emotions a tangled mess. I want to scream at her, to demand answers, but I know it won't do any good. She's too far gone, too wrapped up in her own lies. "I'm fine," I say finally, forcing a smile. "Just work stuff." She doesn't seem convinced, but she nods, leaning in to kiss me goodnight. Her lips are warm, soft, but they leave me cold inside. "Come to bed soon," she whispers, before leaving me alone with my thoughts. I watch her go, the door closing softly behind her. Once again, I'm left with nothing but the silence and the crushing weight of what I need to do. I've tried to solve this problem by confronting Jack, by playing the game on their level, but it's not enough. I need to think bigger, to outmaneuver them both. This isn't just about protecting what's mine anymore. It's about survival. I lean back in my chair, closing my eyes and let the plan start to form in my mind. It's dangerous, risky, but it's the only way. I can't trust Emily, but I can use her. And when the time is right, I'll strike. I'll make sure she can never hurt me again. But for now, I wait. I gather my strength, my resolve, and prepare for the final move in this twisted game. The pieces are in place, and soon it will be checkmate. I stand frozen in the doorway, the sight before me unraveling the last threads of my sanity. Emily is on the floor, hunched over Jack, who lies in a pool of blood. His face is twisted in pain, his leg mangled from the force of the gunshot. It wasn't supposed to go this far. I never meant for it to end like this. "Help me, please!" Emily's voice is a frantic whisper, her hands covered in Jack's blood as she tries to stop the bleeding. I don't move. My mind is a whirlwind, torn between the horror of what's happened and the cold, calculating part of me that knows this is the moment I've been waiting for, the moment everything falls apart and I can finally take control. Jack groans, his eyes fluttering open to meet mine. There's fear there, but also something else, hatred. He knows I did this. He knows I planned it all. "What the hell did you do?" Emily screams at me, her voice breaking. "Call an ambulance." I pull out my phone, my hands trembling as I dial 911. But as the line connects, I hesitate. This is it. This is the decision that will change everything. Do I let Jack live and risk him exposing us both? Or do I take control of the situation, ensure he never has the chance to ruin me? The operator's voice crackles through the phone, and I hear myself speaking, the words spilling out in a monotone, detached from the reality of what I'm saying. "There's been a break-in. My wife and I were attacked. Please send help." I hang up before the operator can ask more questions, my mind already racing with the next steps. I can't leave anything to chance. I need to make this look believable. Emily is still kneeling beside Jack, her sobs filling the room. "What are we going to do?" she asks, looking up at me with wide, desperate eyes. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. "We'll tell them it was a home invasion. We were in the bedroom when we heard someone downstairs. I went to check it out, and you followed me. Jack must have broken in, looking for something. When we confronted him, he attacked, and in the struggle, the gun went off." She nods, but I can see the doubt in her eyes. But why would he? Because he's been blackmailing us. I cut her off, my voice hardening. He found out about the affair and threatened to expose it unless we paid him. We didn't have a choice, Emily. This is the only way out. Her face crumples and she buries her head in her hands. Oh God, what have we done? I don't answer. Instead, I focus on the task at hand. I grab a towel from the bathroom and press it to Jack's wound, knowing it's too late to save him, but needing to make it look like we tried. The blood seeps through the fabric, warm and sticky against my skin. Jack's breathing is shallow, his eyes glassy as he stares up at me. You should have stayed away, I whisper, low enough that Emily can't hear. This could have been avoided. Jack's lips move, but no sound comes out. His eyes close, and a moment later his body goes limp. Emily lets out a wail, collapsing against him, but I pull her back, forcing her to stand. We don't have time for this, I say sharply. We need to get our story straight. She nods numbly, letting me guide her to the couch. I kneel in front of her, gripping her shoulders, forcing her to meet my gaze. Listen to me, Emily. We were both upstairs when we heard the noise. You followed me down and we found Jack here. He was already inside. He attacked us, and in the struggle, the gun went off. Do you understand? She blinks at me, her face pale. But the police, they'll know. They won't know anything if we stick to the story, I insist. We've been through enough. They'll believe us. The sound of sirens in the distance grows louder, and I know we're out of time. I press a kiss to her forehead, hoping it will calm her down, but she's shaking uncontrollably. I can't do this, she whispers, her voice trembling. I can't lie to them. You don't have a choice, I say firmly, standing up as the sirens wail outside. Just remember what I told you. The front door bursts open, and 2 police officers rush in, their guns drawn. I raise my hands, stepping back from Emily. We're unarmed, I say quickly. It's just us. One of the officers moves to check on Jack while the other keeps his weapon trained on us. Emily clings to my arm, her breath coming in ragged gasps. What happened here? The officer asks, his eyes narrowing as he looks between us. I force myself to stay calm, to keep my voice steady. We were upstairs when we heard someone break in. I came down to investigate, and my wife followed. That man, I nod toward Jack's body, attacked us. In the struggle, the gun went off. The officer frowns, but he doesn't lower his weapon. And you have no idea who he is? I shake my head. No, we've never seen him before. The other officer checks Jack's pulse, then looks up and shakes his head. He's dead. Emily lets out a choked sob, and I pull her close, whispering soothing words in her ear. But inside, I'm screaming. I didn't want it to end like this, but there's no turning back now. I have to see this through. The police take our statements, and I do my best to keep my story straight. Emily barely speaks, too shaken to do anything but nod along with whatever I say. The paramedics arrive, and they confirm what I already know. Jack is dead. His body is taken away, leaving a dark stain on the carpet that I know will haunt me for the rest of my life. The police leave, but not before informing us that they will be conducting a full investigation. I nod, thanking them for their help, but inside I'm panicking. An investigation means questions, and questions mean lies. Lies that we'll have to keep straight if we want to survive this. After they're gone, the house is eerily silent. Emily is sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the spot where Jack's body had been. I sit beside her, taking her hand in mine. Her fingers are ice cold, and she doesn't respond to my touch. Emily, I say softly, but she doesn't look at me. We'll get through this. We just have to stay strong. She finally turns to me, her eyes filled with tears. How could you do this? I swallow hard, my throat tight. I did it to protect us, to protect you. She shakes her head, pulling away from me. You killed him. It was an accident, I insist, but the words feel hollow. He attacked us. I had no choice. Her expression hardens, and for a moment, I see the woman I fell in love with, strong and determined. No, you didn't have to kill him. You could have let him go. And what would that have accomplished? I snap, my frustration boiling over. He would have gone to the police, exposed everything. We would have lost everything. She stares at me, her eyes searching mine. I don't know who you are anymore. The words cut deeper than any wound, but I push the pain aside. I can't afford to let my emotions get the better of me. Not now. We need to be on the same page, Emily, I say, my voice firm. If we start turning on each other, it's over. We'll both go down. She doesn't respond, just turns away from me, curling up on the couch. I stand up, running a hand through my hair. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I had a plan, a way out, but now everything's falling apart. I pace the living room, trying to think of my next move. The police will come back, ask more questions. I need to be ready. I need to make sure our story is airtight. But then it hits me. Emily is the weak link. She's already cracking under the pressure, and if she breaks, everything we've done will be for nothing. I need to get her back on my side, to make her see that we're in this together. I kneel in front of her, taking her hands in mine. Emily, please. We have to stick together. We have to protect each other. She looks at me, her eyes filled with confusion and fear. I can't do this, she whispers. I can't live with this. I feel a surge of desperation. You have to. We don't have a choice. She pulls her hands away, standing up abruptly. I need to get out of here. I need to think. Before I can stop her, she grabs her coat and heads for the door. I call after her, but she doesn't respond, just slams the door behind her. I'm left standing in the middle of the living room, my heart racing. If she goes to the police, if she tells them the truth, it's over. I'll lose everything. I grab my phone, scrolling through my contacts. I need to talk to someone, anyone who can help me figure out what to do. But as I scroll, I realize there's no one I can trust, no one who can know what I've done. I throw the phone onto the couch, sinking into the chair. My mind is racing, trying to figure out how to fix this. Emily is out there alone, and I have no idea what she's going to do. If she breaks down, if she tells anyone what really happened, it's over. The hours pass slowly, each minute dragging on like an eternity. I can't sit still, pacing the room, my thoughts spiraling. Every sound makes me jump. Every car that drives by makes my heart race. I'm trapped in my own home, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Finally, just as the sun begins to rise, I hear the front door open. Emily steps inside, her face pale, her eyes red from crying. She doesn't say anything, just walks past me and heads upstairs. I want to follow her, to demand answers, but I know better than to push her right now. I need her to calm down, to see that we're in this together. I sit in the living room, staring at the spot where Jack died, my mind numb. I've crossed a line and we're numb, and there's no going back. The only thing I can do now is keep moving forward, keep trying to control the situation. But as the morning light filters through the windows, I can't shake the feeling that I'm losing control. Emily is slipping away from me, and if I don't do something soon, everything will fall apart. I stand up, my body aching from the tension of the night. I head upstairs, determined to talk to Emily, to make her understand that we have to stick together. But when I reach the bedroom, she's not there. I check the bathroom, the guest room, even the attic, but she's gone. Panic rises in my chest as I realize she's left the house again, and this time, she didn't tell me where she was going. I grab my phone, dialing her number, but it goes straight to voicemail. I try again and again, but there's no answer. My mind races with possibilities. Did she go to the police? Did she run away? I don't know what to think, and the uncertainty is driving me mad. I rush downstairs, grabbing my keys. I need to find her, to stop her before she does something that will destroy us both. But as I step outside, I realize I have no idea where to start looking. I get in the car, driving aimlessly through the streets, my eyes scanning every corner, every sidewalk, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. But she's nowhere to be found. Hours pass, and the sun is high in the sky by the time I finally give up and head back home. I'm exhausted, my mind and body drained from the events of the night. I don't know what to do, and the weight of it all is crushing me. When I walk through the front door, I'm met with silence. The house feels empty, lifeless, and I can't shake the feeling that I've lost everything. I sit down on the couch, burying my head in my hands. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to make things right. And then I hear the sound of footsteps on the stairs. I look up, my heart pounding, and see Emily standing at the top of the staircase, her expression unreadable. She walks down slowly, her eyes never leaving mine. When she reaches the bottom, she stops, her hands clenched at her sides. "I went to the police," she says, her voice quiet but steady. My heart stops. "What did you tell them?" She looks at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "I told them everything." The words hit me like a punch to the gut, and I stagger back, the room spinning around me. It's over. Everything I've done, everything I've tried to protect, it's all for nothing. But then she steps closer, her voice softening. "But I didn't tell them the truth. I told them what we agreed on, that it was a break-in, that Jack attacked us." I stare at her, trying to make sense of what she's saying. "Why?" She shrugs, a sad smile playing on her lips. "Because I realize that we're in this together. I can't do this alone, and neither can you." Relief floods through me, and I pull her into my arms, holding her tightly. We're not out of the woods yet, but for the first time in what feels like forever, I feel a glimmer of hope. We're in this together, and as long as we stick to the story, we might just survive. I spend the next few days trying to convince myself that everything is under control, but it's a lie I can't fully believe. Emily's sudden turn, her decision to support our story, is both a relief and a source of deep suspicion. I can't shake the feeling that something's off, that she's playing a game I haven't fully grasped yet. The weight of what we've done hangs over us, thickening the air in the house until it's almost suffocating. I try to act normal, going through the motions of our daily lives, but every time I look at Emily, I wonder what she's really thinking. Does she regret what happened? Or is she just biding her time, waiting for the right moment to strike? The uncertainty gnaws at me, eroding whatever trust we once had. The police come back a few days later, just as I expected. They ask more questions, digging into the details of our story, looking for any inconsistencies. I stick to the script, repeating the same answers over and over until they're etched into my brain. But I can feel their eyes on me, searching for cracks in my facade. Emily is quieter this time, her responses short and clipped. I watch her closely, waiting for her to slip up, but she doesn't. She plays her part perfectly, the distraught wife who just wants to move on from this nightmare. But there's something in her eyes, something cold and calculating, that sends a chill down my spine. When the police finally leave, I try to talk to her, to gauge where her head is at. But she brushes me off, retreating to the bedroom with barely a word. I'm left alone in the living room, staring at the spot where Jack died, wondering how we got here. The next morning, I wake up to find Emily already dressed and ready to leave. "Where are you going?" I ask, trying to keep my tone casual. She doesn't look at me as she pulls on her coat. "I have some things to take care of." "What things?" She hesitates just for a moment before answering. "I need to get back to work. I can't stay cooped up in this house anymore." It's a reasonable explanation, but I don't believe her. "I thought we agreed to take some time off, let things settle down." She finally looks at me, her expression unreadable. "We can't hide forever. Life has to go on." I want to argue, to demand she tell me what she's really up to, but I hold back. Pushing her too hard might backfire, so I nod, pretending to understand. "Just be careful," I say, trying to sound supportive. She gives me a tight smile before leaving the house. As soon as the door closes behind her, I feel the tension that's been coiled inside me snap. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep pretending everything is fine when I know it's not. I wait for a few minutes before grabbing my coat and following her. I need to know where she's going, who she's meeting. The suspicion is eating me alive, and I can't just sit back and do nothing. I follow her car at a distance, keeping just out of sight. She drives across town, heading toward the office. But then she takes a turn I didn't expect, heading into a part of town where we never go. My heart races as I try to keep up without being seen. She pulls into the parking lot of a small, nondescript building, one that looks out of place in this part of the city. I park a few spaces away, watching as she gets out of the car and heads inside. I wait for a moment, then get out and follow her, keeping my distance. Inside, the building is just as unremarkable as the outside. I see Emily talking to a man behind a reception desk. They exchange a few words before she disappears down a hallway. I don't recognize the man, but something about the way he looks at her sends a jolt of unease through me. I approach the desk, trying to look as nonchalant as possible. The man looks up, his expression guarded. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see my wife," I say, hoping I sound confident. "She just went down that hall." He gives me a long, appraising look before nodding. "Room 3B. You'll need to sign in first." I scribble a fake name in the logbook he hands me, then follow the path Emily took. The hallway is dimly lit, the air thick with the smell of cleaning supplies. I can hear the murmur of voices behind closed doors, but I can't make out any words. When I reach room 3B, I pause, my hand on the doorknob. My heart is pounding, a mix of fear and adrenaline coursing through me. I don't know what I'm going to find on the other side, but I know it won't be good. I push the door open just enough to see inside. Emily is sitting at a table, her back to me. Across from her is a man I don't recognize, but his posture, the way he leans in close to her, sets off alarm bells in my head. I can't hear what they're saying, but it doesn't matter. The sight of them together, the way they're talking in hushed tones, is enough to confirm my worst fears. Emily is up to something, something that could ruin everything. I step back, closing the door as quietly as I can. I need to think, to figure out what my next move is. Confronting her here now would be a mistake. I need to gather more information to find out exactly what she's planning. I leave the building, my mind racing. I can't go back home, not yet. I need to clear my head, to think things through. So I drive, aimlessly at first, until I find myself at the park where Emily and I used to go when we first started dating. It's quiet, almost deserted, the perfect place to sit and think. I park the car and get out, walking to the bench where we used to sit and watch the sunset. The memories come flooding back, bittersweet and painful. How did we get here? How did everything go so wrong? As I sit there, I realize I'm running out of options. Emily is slipping further away from me, and I don't know how to stop it. She's dangerous, unpredictable, and I can't trust her. But I also can't let her ruin everything I've worked for. I have to take control. I have to find a way to neutralize her before she can do any more damage. But how? The thought of turning her in, of letting the police deal with her, crosses my mind, but I know it's not that simple. She's still my wife, and despite everything, part of me still loves her. The sun is setting by the time I make up my mind. I can't go on like this. I need to confront her, to lay everything out on the table. Maybe, just maybe, we can find a way out of this mess together. I drive back home, the tension building with every mile. When I walk through the door, Emily is already there, sitting on the couch, a glass of wine in her hand. She looks up as I enter, her expression carefully neutral. "Where were you?" she asks, her voice casual, but I can hear the undercurrent of suspicion. "I could ask you the same thing," I reply, closing the door behind me. She raises an eyebrow, taking a sip of her wine. "I told you, I had some things to take care of." "And what things would those be?" I ask, my voice harder than I intended. She narrows her eyes at me, setting the glass down on the table. "What's this about?" I take a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. "I followed you today, Emily. I saw you at that building, talking to that man. Who is he?" Her eyes widen just for a moment, before she quickly regains her composure. "You followed me?" "Yes," I say, my voice steady. "I need to know what's going on. Who is he, Emily?" "What are you planning?" She stares at me, her expression unreadable. For a moment, I think she's going to deny everything, but then she surprises me. "He's a lawyer," she says, her voice calm. I've been talking to him about our options, about what we should do next. Options? I repeat, my heart sinking. What kind of options? Divorce, she says bluntly, her eyes locked on mine. This isn't working, and you know it. We can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. I think it's time we end this, before things get any worse. The word hits me like a slap in the face, but I refuse to let her see how much it hurts. And what about the police? What about everything we've done? She shrugs, her expression cold. We'll figure it out. But I can't do this anymore, and neither can you. I feel a wave of anger, so intense it almost blinds me. You think you can just walk away from this? After everything we've been through? Her eyes flash with something, fear maybe or guilt, but she quickly covers it up. It's the only way, and you know it. I take a step closer, my voice low and dangerous. You're not going anywhere, Emily. We're in this together, whether you like it or not. She stands up, meeting my gaze head on. I'm done, and you should be too. This isn't going to end well for either of us if we keep going down this path. For a moment, we just stand there, the tension between us crackling like electricity. I want to scream at her, to shake some sense into her, but I know it won't do any good. She's made up her mind and there's no changing it, but I can't let her go. Not like this. I grab her arm, pulling her close. You're not leaving, Emily. You can talk to all the lawyers you want, but you're not walking away from this. She looks up at me, her expression defiant. You don't control me. No, I admit, my voice cold. But I control what happens next, and I'm not going to let you ruin everything I've worked for. Her eyes widen, and for a moment, I think she's going to fight back. But then she deflates, her shoulders slumping as she lets out a shaky breath. What do you want from me? I soften my grip on her arm, but I don't let go. I want you to stay. I want you to help me clean up this mess. She closes her eyes, a tear slipping down her cheek. I can't keep doing this. It's tearing me apart. I know, I say quietly. But we don't have a choice. She opens her eyes and I can see the pain, the fear, the regret. What if I can't do it? What if I can't keep lying? Then we both go down, I say bluntly. But if we stick together, we might just make it out of this. She doesn't answer, just looks away, her expression haunted. I can see the cracks in her resolve, the weight of everything we've done bearing down on her. And I know it's only a matter of time before she breaks. But I can't let that happen. I have to keep her close, keep her under control, no matter what it takes. I release her arm, stepping back. Get some rest. We'll talk more in the morning. She nods, but I can see the exhaustion in her eyes, the way her shoulders slump as she turns and heads upstairs. I watch her go, my mind racing with everything that needs to be done. I can't afford to let my guard down, not now. Emily is a loose cannon, unpredictable and dangerous. I need to find a way to keep her in line, to make sure she doesn't do anything that could destroy us both. But as I sit down on the couch, my head in my hands, I can't shake the feeling that it's all slipping away from me. The lies, the deceit, the fear. It's all becoming too much. And I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. I need to find a way out, a way to end this once and for all. But as I think about everything that's happened, everything that's still to come, I realize there's no easy solution, no clean way out. I'm trapped in this web of lies, and the more I struggle, the more entangled I become. And now with Emily on the verge of breaking, I don't know how much longer I can keep it all together. But I have to try. I have to keep going, keep fighting, no matter the cost. Because if I don't, I'll lose everything. And that's not a risk I'm willing to take. The house is too quiet. Every sound echoes off the walls, amplified by the tension that hangs in the air like a storm cloud. Emily sits across from me at the dining room table, her face unreadable, her eyes fixed on the untouched glass of wine in front of her. We haven't spoken in hours, both of us trapped in our own thoughts, our own fears. I know this can't go on. The silence is suffocating, pressing down on me until I feel like I'm drowning. We're past the point of pretending. The truth has to come out, no matter the cost. Emily, I say, my voice breaking the stillness. We need to talk. She looks up at me, her expression guarded. About what? About us, about everything. I lean forward, my hands gripping the edge of the table. This has gone too far. We can't keep living like this. She doesn't respond right away, her eyes narrowing slightly as she studies me. What are you saying? I'm saying that we can't keep lying to each other. I reply, my voice tight. We've been through too much. We're in too deep. If we don't confront this head on, it's going to destroy us both. Her gaze flickers, and for a moment, I think I see a crack in her armor. But then she shakes her head, her expression hardening. And what do you suggest? That we just confess everything and hope for the best? I don't know, I admit, the words bitter on my tongue. But we have to do something. This can't go on. She stands up abruptly, pushing the chair back with a loud scrape. You think I don't know that? You think I'm not aware of the mess we're in? Her voice is sharp, laced with anger and fear. It's the most emotion she's shown in days, and it catches me off guard. I know you're scared, I say, trying to keep my voice calm. But so am I. We need to figure this out together. She paces the room, her movements agitated. Together? After everything that's happened, you still think we can fix this? I watch her, my heart heavy. I don't know. But we have to try. She stops, turning to face me, her eyes filled with a mix of desperation and defiance. And what if I don't want to try? What if I'm done pretending that there's any way out of this? Her words hit me like a blow, and I feel the ground shift beneath me. What are you saying? I'm saying that maybe it's time to end this, she says quietly, her voice trembling. Maybe it's time to let go. The finality in her tone sends a chill through me. I stand up, crossing the room to stand in front of her. You don't mean that. She looks up at me, her eyes glistening with tears she refuses to shed. I don't know what I mean anymore. I'm tired, and I can't keep fighting. I reach out, taking her hands in mine, feeling the coldness of her skin. We've come too far to give up now. We can find a way out of this. We just have to stay strong. She pulls her hands away, stepping back. And what if I don't want to? What if I'm tired of being strong? The vulnerability in her voice cuts deep, and I realize how close we are to the edge. One wrong move, and everything will come crashing down. Emily, please, I whisper, my voice thick with emotion. We can do this. We can survive this. She shakes her head, wrapping her arms around herself as if trying to hold herself together. I don't know if I can. I take a step closer, my heart pounding in my chest. You can. I believe in you. She looks at me, and for a moment I see the woman I fell in love with, the woman who was strong and determined, who would fight for what she wanted. But then the moment passes and she turns away, her shoulders slumping in defeat. I need some time, she says quietly. I need to think. I nod, my throat tight. Take all the time you need, but please don't give up on us. She doesn't respond, just walks past me, heading upstairs. I watch her go, my heart heavy with the weight of everything unsaid. I know she's close to breaking, and I don't know how to stop it. The house feels emptier than ever as I stand alone in the living room, the shadows growing longer as the day fades into night. I can't let this be the end. I can't lose her, not after everything we've been through. I sit down on the couch, burying my head in my hands. The silence presses in on me, suffocating until I can't take it anymore. I grab my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I find the number I'm looking for. I hesitate for a moment, my thumb hovering over the call button, but then I press it, needing to hear a familiar voice. The phone rings twice before it's answered. Hello? It's me, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. There's a pause on the other end of the line, and I can almost hear the tension in the air. What's going on? I don't know, I admit, my voice shaking. I think I'm losing her. Have you talked to her? Yeah, but it's like she's already made up her mind. She wants out. Another pause, longer this time. Maybe she just needs some space. This whole situation has been a lot for both of you. I know, I say, my voice thick with frustration. But I can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. that there's more going on than she's letting on. Like what? I don't know, I admit, running a hand through my hair. But I can't just sit here and do nothing. I need to know the truth. Maybe you're right, the voice on the other end says quietly. But you need to be careful. Don't push her too hard. I won't, I promise, though I'm not sure I can keep it. But I can't let her slip away. We talk for a few more minutes, but my mind is already racing, trying to figure out my next move. When I finally hang up, I feel more determined than ever. I can't just wait for her to come around. I need to take action. The next morning, I wake up early, determined to find out what's really going on. Emily is still asleep, her face peaceful, almost innocent, as she lies curled up on her side. I watch her for a moment, my heart aching with a mixture of love and fear. I slip out of bed quietly, heading downstairs to make coffee. As I stand in the kitchen, the familiar routine of grinding beans and boiling water brings a small measure of comfort. But it's fleeting, overshadowed by the uncertainty of what lies ahead. When the coffee is ready, I pour myself a cup, taking a moment to savor the warmth before heading back upstairs. Emily's awake now, sitting up in bed, her hair tousled from sleep. She looks at me with tired eyes as I hand her a cup. "Thank," she murmurs, taking a sip. I sit down on the edge of the bed, watching her carefully. "How are you feeling?" She shrugs, her gaze distant. "I don't know. We need to talk," I say gently, trying to keep my voice calm. She sighs, setting the cup down on the nightstand. "About what?" "About us. About what's really going on." She looks at me, her eyes narrowing slightly. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I know you're not telling me everything," I say, my voice steady. "I know there's more to this than you're letting on." Her expression hardens and she crosses her arms over her chest. "You're paranoid." "Maybe," I admit, refusing to back down. "But I'm not stupid. I know when something's off." She doesn't respond, just looks away, her jaw clenched. I can see the tension in her shoulders, the way she's holding herself together by sheer force of will. "Emily," I say softly, reaching out to touch her arm. "Please, we can't keep doing this. We need to be honest with each other." She pulls away from me, her eyes flashing with anger. "Honest? After everything that's happened, you expect me to just open up and spill my guts?" "Yes," I say firmly, refusing to let her push me away. "Because if we don't, this is going to destroy us." She stares at me, her eyes filled with a mix of emotions, fear, anger, desperation. For a moment, I think she's going to break, that she's going to finally tell me the truth. But then she shakes her head, standing up and grabbing her robe. "I can't do this right now. Emily, I need some space," she says, cutting me off as she heads for the door. "I need to clear my head." I watch her go, my heart sinking. I know I'm losing her and I don't know how to stop it. The door closes behind her and I'm left alone in the room, the weight of everything pressing down on me. I don't know what to do, how to fix this. All I know is that I can't let her go, no matter what. As the day drags on, I try to distract myself with work, with mundane tasks around the house. But my mind keeps drifting back to Emily, to the way she looked at me this morning, as if I was a stranger, as if she'd already made up her mind to leave. I can't let that happen. I have to find a way to keep her close, to show her that we can get through this. But as the hours pass and she doesn't come back, I feel the fear growing stronger, gnawing at me from the inside out. When she finally returns, it's late, the sun already dipping below the horizon. She walks in quietly, her face drawn and pale. I don't say anything, just watch her as she takes off her coat and hangs it up. She doesn't look at me as she walks past, heading upstairs. I follow her, my heart pounding in my chest. "Emily," I say softly, my voice trembling, "please talk to me." She stops halfway up the stairs, her back to me. For a moment, she doesn't move, and I hold my breath, waiting for her to turn around, to say something, anything. But she doesn't. She just shakes her head and continues up the stairs, leaving me standing there alone in the darkness. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this. All I know is that I'm losing her, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. The realization hits me like a punch to the gut, and I feel the last remnants of hope slip away, leaving me hollow and defeated. This is the end. I can see it now, clear as day. No matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, I can't save us. The lies, the secrets, the betrayal. It's all too much. And now it's all coming to a head, like a storm that's been building for far too long. As I stand there alone in the dark, I realize that I'm not just losing Emily. I'm losing myself, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I stand in the wreckage of my life, surveying the ruins around me. The house is silent now, the echoes of our final confrontation still lingering in the air like a ghost that refuses to be laid to rest. Emily is gone, but her presence haunts every corner of this place, a constant reminder of everything I've lost, and everything I've done. It's over. The battle, the lies, the constant, suffocating tension, it's all come to an end. But as I sit alone in the living room, the reality of my victory feels hollow. I've won, but at what cost? The memory of that last night plays over and over in my mind, a twisted loop I can't escape. I can still see the look in Emily's eyes as she realized what I had done, how I had turned the tables on her, used her own tactics against her. She had always been clever, always one step ahead, but in the end, it was her arrogance that led to her downfall. It started with the recording. I knew she had been gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment to use it against me, but she underestimated how far I was willing to go. I found her stash, hidden files, incriminating videos, everything she planned to use to destroy me. I deleted it all, every trace, leaving her with nothing. When she confronted me, I was ready. I had already set the stage, carefully crafting my narrative. I played the part of the wronged husband, the victim of her schemes. I had documented everything, the affair, her plot against me, her attempts to blackmail me. By the time she realized what I had done, it was too late. I had all the power. Her fury was palpable, but so was her fear. She knew she had lost. I could see it in her eyes, the way her shoulders slumped in defeat. For a moment, I thought she might fight back, but then she just gave up. She packed a bag and left without another word, disappearing into the night like a shadow. And now I'm here, alone in this house that feels more like a tomb than a home. The silence is oppressive, pressing down on me until I can barely breathe. I should feel relieved, even triumphant, but all I feel is emptiness. I walk through the house, each room a reminder of the life we once shared, now gone. The memories are everywhere. Photos on the walls, the scent of her perfumes is still lingering in the air. I stop in front of the bedroom, the place where it all began, where I first found the message that shattered everything. I can't bring myself to go inside. Instead, I head for the door, grabbing my coat and keys on the way out. I can't stay here. Not now, maybe not ever. The house is too full of ghosts, too full of everything I've lost. I need to get out, to clear my head, to figure out what comes next. The night air is cold and sharp as I step outside, a welcome contrast to the suffocating warmth of the house. I start walking, not really sure where I'm going, just needing to move, to put some distance between me and the wreckage of my life. As I walk, I think about everything that's happened, the choices I've made, the person I've become. I was a different man before all this started, successful, content, maybe even happy. But now I'm not sure who I am anymore. The man I see in the mirror is a stranger, someone shaped by betrayal, anger, and a relentless need to win at all costs. I've won, but it doesn't feel like a victory. Emily is gone, but the darkness she brought into my life still lingers, wrapping around me like a shroud. I wonder if I'll ever be free of it, or if this is just who I am now, someone defined by the worst moments of his life. I find myself at the edge of the park, the place where Emily and I used to go when we first started dating. It's quiet here, the only sound the rustle of leaves in the wind. I sit down on a bench, staring out at the empty playground, the swings swaying gently in the breeze. This is where it all began, I realize. This is where we first fell in love, where we dreamed about the future we would build together. But those dreams are dead now, buried under the weight of everything that's happened. I wonder if I can start over, if there's any part of me left that can be salvaged. I want to believe there is, that I can walk away from all of this and find some kind of peace. But the shadows are always there, lurking just out of sight, waiting to pull me back into the darkness. The night deepens, and I stay on the bench, lost in thought. I don't know how long I sit there, but eventually I realize that I have to make a decision. I can't stay in this place forever, trapped in the memories of what once was. I have to move forward, even if I don't know what that means yet. I stand up, the cold air biting at my skin, and start walking again. This time, I know where I'm going. I head back to the house, the place that has been both my sanctuary and my prison. But as I approach, I know that it's no longer my home. It's just a place, a shell of what it used to be. I step inside, the familiar creak of the floorboards greeting me. The silence is still there, but it feels different now, less oppressive, more like a blank slate. I walk through the house one last time, saying goodbye to the life I once knew. When I reach the front door, I pause, looking back at the place that has been my world for so long. I take a deep breath, letting the memories wash over me one last time, and then I step outside, closing the door behind me. The night is quiet as I walk away, the darkness surrounding me like an old friend. I don't know where I'm going, but for the first time in a long time, I feel a sense of possibility. The future is uncertain, but it's mine to shape, and that's enough for now. As I walk down the empty street, I think about everything that's happened, about the choices I've made and the man I've become. I've lost so much, but I've also gained something, an understanding of who I am, of what I'm capable of. It's not a comforting thought, but it's the truth, and I can live with that. The darkness is still there, hovering at the edges of my mind, but I know now that it doesn't define me. It's just a part of who I am, a part that I'll carry with me, but not one that will control me. I can start over, find a new path, and maybe, just maybe, find some kind of peace. The night stretches out before me, endless and unknown, but I keep walking, my steps steady and sure. The past is behind me, and the future is waiting. I don't know what it holds, but I'm ready to face it on my terms. As I walk, I feel a sense of closure, of finality. The life I once knew is gone, but I'm still here, still standing. I've been through hell, but I've come out the other side, scarred but stronger. I don't look back as I walk away, leaving the house, the memories, and the darkness behind. The future is mine, and for the first time in a long time, I feel a flicker of hope. It's small, fragile, but it's there, and it's enough to keep me going. And so I walk into the night, the darkness all around me, but no longer within me. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'll get there, one step at a time. The past is done, and the future is mine to shape. I'm ready.